it seems to me that we not only have to be really good at debate, we have to be really good at dialogue. And we need to develop those skills. And right at the heart of dialogue, the skill right at the heart of dialogue is listening. And it's deep listening.
I love that. It made me think of a few things here. One, it's a bit harder to reason someone out of a position they didn't reason themselves into, and I
Right?
think that that approach that your friend has, is that they're open to being wrong, they're open to listening to other people, and they're not gonna like part of the thing here. It's like you once you realize that you don't have a monopoly on the truth or the evidence. I think there's a humility that we do need to have coached into and conditioned into our approach when we get into the public square to talk about what's going on and what do we do about it. And with that humility, then we're kind of able to detach our ego, our sense of selves from our opinions, and then go, my opinion is not the same as me and my values. So I'm okay to change my opinion because my opinion is like a judgment, a snapshot in time of like what I think is going on and what we ought to do about it, but my values can be actually more eternal, I suppose. And I think, and so I definitely want to get into QAnon. I definitely want to get into how do we talk to people who are so sure that QAnon is real and so sure that, and I think you've touched on so much of it, which is the empathetic, I guess, value focused conversation. Like there was I think it was Caitlin Johnstone who wrote an article titled "QAnon is a fake decoy of a healthy revolutionary impulse." And her point is like, it's actually great that people want to save the children. It's great that people want to, dismantle unequal systems, and they have this impulse that are here. But it's been hijacked. It's been like the parts where they become informed about like what specifically detail wise factually is happening. That is either wrong for, I mean, it's wrong for a variety of reasons. I think now it's being politically engineered to a large extent by Trump supporters, or if not by like Stephen Miller himself and Steve Bannon to whatever extent. Like it could be actual names and faces we can attach it to. But I do coexist with people who actually think in these ways, and I do want to continue coexisting with them. So when I think about like how can I live with, how can I be in tribe with people who have almost like a different epistemology about the world around them, and I have to bring it back down to values and recognize and be empathetic and tell them and listen to them. These are what I'm hearing, and reflecting back, like this is what I'm hearing when you're telling me that you really care about what's going on here. It's like I can feel that, and I appreciate that. I love that energy, but that like I have a different explanation of what specifically is happening, and I might come to a different conclusion about what's going on. And so that's something I am trying to bake into, I guess, my approach for when and if and as I have been having these conversations, because it's very easy for me and for other people, I'm sure, to just go, "That's f-. I'm gonna have to bleep that out completely," but that's like, but it's almost like you have such stark contrast and worldviews, but you're still humans. You're still driven by the same values, I think, in large part. and and I think that's what gets lost in the public square. I think that's what gets lost in the dim because people don't know how to approach one another with these communications and conversations. And two, it's like there's actual bad faith, very self-interested people who know how to use our psychology against us, and they've been doing so for a long time.
You know, the Dalai Lama, one of the things the Dalai Lama said to me was that we need more warm heartedness. We need more kind of compassion. And, somebody can be completely wrong about something and still be a good person, right? And
Mhm.
so you want to kind of you don't want to kind of get too much into the mud of what the hell is this, right? It's more like, how do you kind of create the emotional space for a relationship to help you sort of move beyond whatever, right? Um, people, I think that there is far more trauma in the world than we are aware, and that people are far more damaged than it appears. And so we have no idea what it is that makes that person think those kinds of things. And I mean, I don't think we want to deal with that kind of stuff by somehow giving it more credibility than it should have. But at the same time, you can still be, you can still care about the person. And this is what I love about Jane Fonda. She doesn't hate the person; she just hates the ideas, right? And well, that's such an incredible lesson that she's learned as an activist her entire life, right?
Yeah.
And I think that there's a big lesson there, and I think that that's kind of what the Dalai Lama is talking about with compassion. It's not some kind of big, pie in the sky, let's go to the caves and meditate and love everybody. It's not that. It's basically just sort of, you have no idea what that other person's gone through. You don't know what's made that person who they are. And so who are you to, don't you want them to, wouldn't you want them to overlook your shortcomings, right?